Good day, everyone. Welcome to Vanished Chicagoland Stories, the podcast. I'm your host, Pete Costanis. This is episode 96, season 4. Today's date is January 11th, 2022. And today I have a special episode. I'm going to talk about 3 celebrities that have passed away for the past few days that I grew up watching them on television and the movies in Chicago. And it seems like off topic, but you will understand what I mean as I go along in the podcast episode. Okay, and the celebrities I will talk about today are Sidney Poitier, Dwayne Hickman, and Bob Saget. And I will also mention about Peter Bogdanovich, the movie director. I'll talk about a little bit about him. Anyway, before I start, the program will go into commercial. And this program is brought to you by Plymouth Cars. You remember that car brand that was with Chrysler, Dodge, and Plymouth? So here's a commercial from 1969 featuring Dwayne Hickman for Plymouth Sports Suburban Wagon. And here it is. Thank you, everyone. Enjoy.
Just look what Plymouth's up to now.
Hi, I'm Dwayne Hickman. Did you know that this beautiful new Plymouth Sports Suburban Wagon will hold 51,659 ping pong balls? There's one, served up by Glenn Cowan, national table tennis champion. Another great serve into our secret storage space, designed to store as many secrets as you want. There's an ace bouncing right off the rear wind deflector. Helps keep your rear window nice and clean. Keeps fumes out. And there's a smash right into our new side Space Saver storage compartment. Now, for all you people who have kids, oh my, the tailgate opens down for most things and sideways, especially for kids.
In the last 2 years, more than 750,000 owners of competitive cars were won over to Plymouth.
Okay, everyone, I am back. I hope you enjoyed that commercial for Plymouth. I don't know when they discontinued that. I think it was about the 90s, I believe, just around, do you remember Oldsmobile? That's probably the same thing. Not the same company, but, or Pontiac. I remember that those car brands. They're sorely missed. They're very missed by today. Anyway, that commercial featured Dwayne Hickman. I will talk about him later on. And the other celebrities I will talk about on this episode are Sidney Poitier and Bob Saget. But first, I'll start off with Peter Bogdanovich. A little tongue-tied. I'll talk briefly about him. Peter Bogdanovich was a famous director. He also acted a little bit. And he was born July 30th, 1939 in Kingston, New York. And he had impressive credits as a movie director, famous classic films that he did. And I'm going to read off some of them. Well, first I'll read off his first movie he directed, and it was called Voyage to the Planet of Prehistoric Women. If you look at that title, it's not going to be Class A film. But he was credited as not by his name, by Derek Thomas. I don't know why. And then his second film was called Targets, and I believe that movie was Boris Karloff's last film role. Yeah, and it was in 1968, and I think that he died a year later. Boris Karloff, that is. Okay, and then his third movie was his most famous one, The Last Picture Show. I love that movie, and it was filmed in black and white. It was set in Texas, and it starred Sybil Shepherd, and I believe it's her first movie role, and she was gorgeous, beautiful lady, beautiful model. She got romantically involved with him, and it was nominated for Academy Award. Well, let's see. It says here, it had a lot of nominations for Oscars, and I believe Cloris Leachman won Best Supporting Actress in that movie. And she was best known for Phyllis Lindstrom on the Mary Tyler Moore Show, but she played a dramatic role, and she was fascinating. Oh my God, that woman could do anything, But she was hilarious, on the Mary Tyler Moore Show, and she was very versatile, And she died, I think, about a year ago, due to COVID. It's a shame. And then I won't read all his movies, but the most famous next one was What's Up, Doc, with Barbara Streisand and Ryan O'Neal and Madeline Kahn. That was hilarious. I love that one. Paper Moon, also with Ryan O'Neal and Tatum O'Neal, his daughter. And that was filmed in black and white. Others were Daisy Miller and Nickelodeon, which I like that one. And he directed a movie called They All Laughed, and that was a movie with Audrey Hepburn. She returned from retirement. From the last movie she made was Wait Until Dark from 1967. And I never seen that movie, but I'm curious. I always wanted to see that. And also, his other famous movie was Mask from 1985, and it starred Cher. I've seen parts of it. I should watch the whole thing, but I heard it's wonderful, and she was excellent in that role. She was excellent. And then he did the sequel Texasville for the Last Picture Show, and most of the cast returned. Didn't really do well. And then he did others, but he also directed television, and one TV movie he did was the sequel to Sir with Love that starred Sidney Poitier. And he directed his film. So, and then he passed away on what day he passed away? I'll be with you in a sec. Yeah, he died January 6th. He was 82 years old. So he was a wonderful director, And so that's about enough for him. And then now we go into Sidney Poitier. Okay, we all know that he was a wonderful movie actor. Wonderful. You saw him on the screen. He was magic. He had that magnetic personality. And I remember watching him on TV. I don't remember seeing him in the movies, but most of his movies were shown on WGN TV Channel 9 in Chicago, on like the late movies. And one movie I liked a lot with him was it was called Raisin in the Sun, and that was based on a Broadway play which he did star, and most of the cast was in it. That they were in the Broadway play, and then they were in the movie, and it stars Sidney Poitier. It was Ruby Dee. Also, I'm going to read the names of people that you recognize. There was Ivan Dixon, who was famous for playing in Hogan's Heroes, and Louis Gossett Jr. And I think he had hair, at the time, because I remember him being bald like that. And I watched that movie on Channel 9 late at night, and it was about a black family going to buying a home. And they want a better life. And when I started watching the movie, it was fascinating. Oh, that was fascinating to watch that. And I think the house is based on it. It's on 68th Street and Rhodes on the south side. Rhodes Avenue, Rhodes Street. I don't remember. The play was by it's based on a book, and it's from. Her name was, what's her name? Lorraine. Yeah, it was a play, and her name was Lorraine Hansberry. She was a playwright and a writer. And it's a fascinating film to watch, And I don't know if they filmed it in Chicago. I think it did. I'm not sure. And I saw it once, and like I said before, it was great. It was really wonderful. Anyway, the other movies he starred in was his first movie was No Way Out, and that was from 1950. I never seen that one. My brother did, and he said it was wonderful. It was a wonderful movie. Others, he was in Blackboard Jungle from 1955. He played a punk in a high school where Glenn Ford was the teacher. And I think they played that song from Bill Haley and the Comets. And yeah, I'm trying to remember the song. I can't think of it. They played it on Happy Days. I'll think of it in a second. Anyway, and other movies he was in: Edge of the City, Porgy and Bess, The Defiant Ones with Tony Curtis. Oh, I like that one. That was mesmerizing. I like that one. He started in Paris Blues with Diane Carroll. Lilies of the Field, that's a famous movie in 1963. A lot of people loved him in that movie. They really did. The other one is Patch of Blue. That was with Shelley Winters and Elizabeth Hardman. She played blind. She was a blind woman in the movie. The Slender Thread. I saw that movie, and that was with Anne Bancroft. She played like a suicidal person, and he was he worked like in a hotline or something, trying to help her. And of course, two other famous movies he was in was To Sir with Love. I love that movie. It was set in London, with a bunch of kids. They were rambunctious, and the theme song was sung by Lulu, the singer. And also In the Heat of the Night. And he was Detective Virgil Tibbs. And we all know that classic line that he said, "He called me Mr. Tibbs." I love that one. Oh, of course, there were other two famous ones. Guess Who's Coming to Dinner with Katharine Hepburn and Spencer Tracy. And I think that was Spencer Tracy's last role. And I remember the soliloquy he did at the end of the movie. And that was wonderful. I love that movie. And he did others in the 70s. He did Uptown Saturday Night, and it was a funny movie. I never saw him do a comedy role, but he was pretty good in that. And, he acted all the way up to the 90s, and he was also a director. He directed Uptown Saturday Night, Let's Do It Again, Piece of the Action, and Stir Crazy, starring Gene Wilder and Richard Pryor. And he had some bombs, so who knows? But he was wonderful, and it's a shame. He passed away on January 6th. Also, he was 94 years old. He was born on February 20th, 1927, and February 20th, that's my father's birthday. So they share a birthday. Okay. Next up, I will talk about Dwayne Hickman. I think younger people wouldn't remember him, but he was famous for his role as in Dobie Gillis. And that show ran from 1959 to 1963. And my memories of watching that show, I remember the first one, were on WFLD TV, Channel 32. They showed some old sitcoms. And it was like in the mid-70s, and it was shown like about 9 o'clock, 9:30 in the evening. And for example, they had, of course, Dobie Gillis. They had Love That Bob, the Bob Cummings show, excuse me, starred him. There was R.M.S. Brooks with Eve Arden, and Bachelor Father with John Forsythe, and also December Bride with Spring Byington. I can't think of the other one was Great Gildersleeve, and that was based on the radio show. So at that time, that was the first time I saw Dobie Gillis, and when I looked at when you see in the beginning of the show, he's sitting in the park, and next to him is a sculpture of Rodin's The Thinker, and he's like, he puts his fist under his chin, and he's thinking. And his main pursuit is to find girls. And there was one particular girl he was interested, and that was played by Tuesday Weld. And she was a famous film actress. She was only there on the show for a little while. Oh, her character's name was Thalia Manager. Also on the show was Bob Denver, famous for Gilligan's Island. He played Maynard G. Krebs, and he was like the first beatnik. He had like a goatee, and he said "Daddy-O," and he banged on the bongos. Oh, he was wonderful. I loved him in that role. A lot of people just associate him with Gilligan's Island, but he was famous for that role as well. And also on the show in the first season was Warren Beatty. And there's a funny story about that. One time, Dwayne Hickman appeared on the Merv Griffin show and said that he was at a party and he ran to Warren Beatty. And he says, "You remember you appeared on Dobie Gillis?" And Warren Beatty said, "No, I never appeared on show." He denied it, and he just walked away, which is kind of rude. And, but his claim is wrong. He was on the show. I guess he didn't have a good time on it, or, and then after he left the show, Warren Beatty went into the movies. And his first movie was Splendor in the Grass with Natalie Wood. Anyway, Dobie Gillis was adult with teenagers, in high school. They had a lot of famous guest roles. Dwayne Hickman was 25 years old when he started, so he looked young, but he wasn't a teenager. He was an adult in his 20s. And I have the show on DVD. I bought it a few years ago, and I started watching it, and I loved it. It's wonderful, and it's fun to watch guest stars in it. There were a lot of them. I remember Ryan O'Neal was in one. There was Dawn Wells from Gilligan's Island. Also, I can't think of it. There were a lot of them. There were a lot. And after Dobie Gillis, he appeared in other TV shows. He did some movies. He was also a director. He was an executive at CBS. And I remember the sequel. There were two sequels of the Dobie Gillis. One was in 1977. I remember watching that. It's not on video. I wish we could find it. And the other one was in the 80s. And also starring in Dobie Gillis was, let's see, what's her name? Sheila James. Her real name is Sheila Cool. And she was Zelda, and she was always chasing him around. It reminds me of Jughead with Ethel from the Archie comics. But so he passed. So Dwayne Hickman died on January 9th. He was 87 years old, and he was a wonderful actor. Wonderful. He had a brother named Daryl, which he is still alive. He was also an actor. His famous role, I remember, was in All in the Family. He played a director where Edith Bunker did a TV commercial. And he was very, very feminine. Like, I think he was gay, but we don't know. So it was funny. It was a funny episode. I loved that. And Archie Bunker gave him a hard time. So Dwayne Hickman left a legacy of a wonderful sitcom. And it's not on TV much, but if you buy the DVD, I think you'll be very happy. You would love that. Okay. Next up, I will talk about is Bob Saget, which was a big shock. It really was. And he died on the same day, January 9th, And he was born Robert Lane Saget on May 17th, 1956. He's born in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. And you know what the funny thing is? He was on the CBS morning program, the morning program. And he was there briefly. And I remember watching him. I turned on the channel and there he was. But I don't know he wasn't famous then. And then about a couple of years later, he got, not a couple of years. He was cast as Danny Tanner in Full House. And to be honest, I never watched the show really, Full House. I'm not putting it down. It's a good show. It's funny, but I was not, a fan of it. So, and then it starred John Stamos, Dave Coulier, and we had Lori Loughlin, and the kids, famous for the Olsen twins. And then I remember 2 episodes of that show. One time they had a birthday party. I don't know whose birthday party, but they had their dog Comet, and they put a tiara on his head, on Comet's head, said happy birthday. And I think one of the kids said, "Oh, can Comet blow out the candle?" And Bob Saget's character, Danny Tanner, said, "Oh, come on, you believe that a dog would blow out a candle?" And you know what? Comet did. I don't know why that was funny. I loved that part. She was a good dog. I don't know if it's a he or she. I don't remember. And the other episode was when John Stamos's, I don't know if his grandparents came to visit because he was Greek, which John Stamos is in real life. He's half Greek. And, I don't remember him speaking. Maybe, I don't know if he knows how to speak it, probably, because his father was. And, they came over and they did all this Greek stuff. I think they did a Greek dance in one episode, which I don't really remember. And anyway, so the show was very successful. And it premiered on September 22nd, 1987, and it lasted for 8 seasons. And it ended May 23rd, 1995. And they also did a sequel, Fuller House. It featured the girls. They got older and they got married. The other guys made cameos of that, and they ran for 4 years. And so when I heard the news of Bob Saget, it was terrible. That was tragic. We don't know what happened, as far as we know. Also, he hosted America's what's that called? America's Funniest Home Videos, and he started in 1989. And I remember watching that, and that show ran for a long time, and he hosted that show for 8 years, and then Tom Bergeron took over. And I think now it's, I can't think of the person's name, who it is. Oh, Alfonso Ribeiro, from Fresh Prince. And, it was a time where people sent in videos and they did all kinds of goofy stunts and antics and all that. There are a few I liked, and he also did the voices of that. So it was funny. It's still funny to this day. And he was, but he's also a stand-up comedian. And from what I heard, when he does a stand-up, it's a little salty. It's very dirty what he says, And it's not like what he says funny lines or does jokes on Full House or on television. It was squeaky clean, but not when he's on tour. No way. It's not that like that at all. Okay. And then also, let's see. Also, he started another sitcom called Raising Dad. It only ran for 1 year. That was from 2001. And then he also did the voice on the sitcom How I Met Your Mother. And that show ran for 9 years, from 2005 to 2014. So he was a busy guy, very busy guy. And also, a lot of people don't remember this. He directed a TV movie in 1996 called For Hope, and it was a life story about his sister, and she had scleroderma. It was a disease. And I remember seeing the promos of that movie, and that starred Dana Delaney, famous for China Beach. And I think I saw part of it. It was pretty good. It was a pretty good movie. Okay. So my condolences to all the families of the actors that passed away, and they left us a legacy of laughs and entertainment that will live on forever. Okay. That'll be all for today. Thank you for joining me on episode 96, season 4 of Vanishing Chicagoland Stories, the podcast. You can find it on any apps that are available. For example, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Spotify, any number of them. You can also find my podcast on my YouTube channel, Dan Chicagoland Stories. And so next episode coming up will probably be maybe Friday or Saturday. I think Friday. And that'll be episode 97. So we're heading to the milestone of 100. And I'll have a special episode for that. I'm still planning on it. Okay, so this is Pete Castanes, your host. And thank you for listening. I enjoyed your company. And right now, so long. And hope to hear from you soon. And now we have a little traveling music from Ray Rayner. Bye-bye, everybody. Take care.
We have to go. Bye, bye, bye.